Hello friends, I am Arpit and I am here with today's analysis. Today is 11th of September and we are going to deal with two very important topics. The first is USA, UK, EU and others sign an international AI treaty. This international AI treaty was tabled by the Council of Europe. This treaty is different from the EU treaty which was adopted earlier. First, it is open for non-Europeans as well, whereas the EU treaty was specifically for the EU members. Second, the EU treaty was talking only about high-risk sectors. It is talking about those sectors also which are of less risk, means there are various compliances in it, and for the public as well as private sector both. This treaty becomes very important due to the negative side of AI which has been on the rise. Then the next topic, as we are covering a theme, and that theme is Sustainable Development Goals. So we've covered Sustainable Development Goal number 1, that is ending poverty. Now SDG 2, that is zero hunger. We will be discussing about this as well over here, and then the MCQs based on both these topics. USA, UK and European Union sign Council of Europe's International AI Treaty. So when I talk about this AI, so first of all let us understand what AI is in a nutshell. It is artificial intelligence. The machines, computers, they are made to perform or they are made to work intelligently. Their intelligence has been attempted to be brought at par with the human intelligence. But absolutely it cannot be at par with human intelligence. That is why artificial intelligence the name is. The machines have been taught, fed with a lot of input, and finally they've come up to that certain level that they understand to the inputs given to them, and then they respond accordingly, the machines. That is what AI is all about, and it is being increasingly used all across the world, including India. There are negative sides to it, like for example, people can create fake videos, fake audio clips, fake photographs by using AI technology. And these kind of, I would say, photos, images or videos or audio clips created are, they seem to be real, but they actually are not real. They are deeply faked. That is why they are called as or referred to as deep fakes. Now, this negative side has led to a lot of, I would say, discontentment or a lot of disbelief all over the world. Like for example, these kind of technologies have impacted elections. These kind of technologies have led to a lot of molestation, a lot of, I would say, cyberbullying. It has led to a lot of, I would say, crimes against women, pornography and all these kinds of things are being created by using AI. So to tackle those negative aspects of AI, this treaty has been adopted. Since AI is getting more and more diffused, in India also, we also need to upgrade our already existing law on that is Information Technology Act 2000. The government is thinking on these lines, and very soon this law will be upgraded to Digital India Act, probably in this year's winter session or maybe in the next session, but yes, it is going to be upgraded. But yes, as of now, let us look into this treaty, AI treaty, which was tabled in the Council of Europe. It is not European Union, it is Council of Europe, and this treaty has been adopted by countries like United States, European Union, United Kingdom and several other nations who have signed the Council of Europe's International AI Treaty in Lithuania. This treaty, first adopted in May 2023, is the first international legally binding agreement focused on the use of AI system. So it is legally binding. We need to understand this as well. Now about the signatories who have signed this treaty. Founding signatories, United States, European Union, United Kingdom, these three. Additional signatories, Israel, Georgia, Norway, Iceland, Andorra, Moldova and San Marino. So if I say that only the European countries or only the American countries have signed it, no, I would be wrong. There is a nation country, Israel, then Georgia, they also have signed it. Negotiating participants, Japan, Argentina, Australia, Canada, Mexico, Peru, Uruguay, Costa Rica and Vatican. So these were present, but they did not sign. They were present in the negotiations only. That is why they are called as negotiating partners or negotiation partners. Purpose of this treaty. This treaty, since it is legally binding, so it has to establish a legal framework. It establishes a legal framework to govern the entire life cycle of AI systems, from where the AI systems are being generated to the advanced levels where they are ready to use and they are being used. So first of all, while generating those AI systems, all the legal compliances should be followed. Once they are generated and they are being used, then the legal compliances should be followed. This is how, the entire life cycle of AI systems will be covered. That is why this word is important. Addressing associated risks while encouraging responsible innovation. It was developed in response to growing concerns over AI misuse, such as deepfakes. So I've already explained what deepfakes are. Now, how is it different from the EU Act? First of all, we need to understand that European Union has also passed a law to regulate AI. However, regulating AI can, limit its scope for growth. But yes, considering or seeing the negative aspects of AI, EU passed a legislation. EU, let me tell you, is one of those, I would say, blocks, or one of those, I would say, entities which is very much keen on or very much proactive on digitalization laws. India's digitalization laws and all have also been inspired from the laws made by EU. And here, on AI also they have made a law, and India is yet to pass a legislation on that, which soon will be passed, hopefully. But yes, EU has passed a legislation already. Now this Council of Europe, this has adopted this legislation, or I would say treaty. So how this treaty, which is adopted by Council of Europe, is different from the European Union law? First of all, the difference lies in the scope. The Council of Europe's treaty is open to non-European countries, as we could see Israel and Jordan part of it. Unlike the EU's Artificial Intelligence Act, which is applicable only within the EU, obviously that EU's Artificial Intelligence Act has been passed by the European Union Parliament. So obviously it will be applicable to that or those 27 countries only. But this one, Council of Europe's treaty, is open for non-European countries as well. Regulation focus. The Council of Europe's treaty covers both public and private sectors with varied compliance models. Means those very high risky sectors, medium risky sectors, less risky sectors, all are covered, whereas the EU Act specifically regulates high risk sectors. So this is how it is basically, coping up with this, or the difference is this. Now we've been talking about Council of Europe. Let us first understand what Council of Europe is also. The treaty is over, and we should understand this. It was established in the year 1949. It is Europe's oldest and largest intergovernmental organization. It is even larger than EU. So membership comprising of 47 member states, 27 of which are EU members, means all the EU countries are part of Council of Europe. Headquarters, Strasbourg, France. Languages, English and French. Mandate, the goal of Council of Europe is to protect democracy, human rights and promote European unity. This is the goal of it. Focus areas, human rights, crime prevention, drug abuse, environmental protection, bioethics and migration. Agreements, more than 160 international treaties and conventions, including the European Convention on Human Rights and the European Social Charter of 1961, have been adopted by this Council of Europe. Next is structure of this Council of Europe. Committee of Ministers, the decision making body is this. Parliamentary Assembly represents national parliaments of all the members, 47 or 49 or 47 members, whatever they are. Congress of Local and Regional Authorities addresses local and regional issues, and Secretariat implements the Council's work. Whatever treaties and all have been signed, so it will now be the duty of Secretariat to implement it. So like for example, this treaty, AI treaty has been signed, so the Secretariat will be implementing this treaty in the member countries. Now coming on to the next piece of news, that is SDG 2. This SDG 2 calls for zero hunger, and it is not only zero hunger, as we saw yesterday also, that One, we see a broad goal, SDG 2, that is, or SDG 1, we saw that zero poverty. But then inside that there were multiple sub goals. Likewise here also, the main goal is zero hunger, but inside it is multiple sub goals. So the exact goal is end hunger, achieve food security and improve nutrition and promote sustainable agriculture. So zero hunger goal is at risk. Why? Because more than 600 million people worldwide are projected to face hunger in 2030, and 600 million is a substantial figure. Despite dropping in 2001, high food prices continue to plague many nations. Especially after the Russia-Ukraine war started in the year 2022, February-March 2022 it started. The world was facing this 3F crisis. 3 F's: fertilizer, food and fuel. The food products, or I would say the food grains, the prices rose. The main reason behind that was that many countries all across the world depended upon the food grain exports, that is wheat and rice, from Ukraine and Russia region, which were impacted. The less supply of food in the entire world led to increase in prices. This was the basic reason why the food prices went up in 2022 and have remained high since then. So this is there. So if I see this, inflation or share of countries experiencing moderately to abnormally high food prices, in 2015 to 19 bracket only 15.2 countries were experiencing it. In 2020, 48.1 countries were experiencing owing to COVID. 2021, 21.5% countries were experiencing it. And if I talk about post 2022, it is more than 50% of the countries who are experiencing this high food inflation, or I would say food distress. Little to no progress has been made in reducing anemia worldwide since 2000. Prevalence of anemia in women aged 15 to 49 has remained stagnant at around 30%, which means that 30% of the females globally, they experience anemia. These women are in this age bracket of 15 to 49 years of age, and this is unfortunately the childbearing age also. They give birth also to children, and since when they are anemic, the children are born as anemic. So that is something which is concerning. 1 in 3 people worldwide struggle with moderate to severe food insecurity. So that is a huge number. Malnutrition persists worldwide. So malnutrition is basically a term which is often misinterpreted and misunderstood. Malnutrition is not lack of nutrition. Malnutrition is lack of appropriate nutrition. If the nutrition availability is too less, then it can result into stunting or wasting. If the availability of nutrition is too high, then it can result into obesity. That is also a form of malnutrition. So a lot of people all across the world are suffering from malnutrition. So stunting, wasting, obesity, 148 million people with stunting, 45 million people with wasting, and around 37 million people are overweight or obese. So this is basically the statistics of the world. Now the targets, the sub-targets, these are: end hunger, goal is to ensure access to safe, nutritious and sufficient food for all individuals, especially the poor and vulnerable, year round. End malnutrition, goal to eliminate all forms of malnutrition by 2030. Forms of malnutrition: stunting, wasting, obesity. So stunting is when your height is too short as per your weight. Wasting is when you are too thin as per your height, and obese is when you are overweight. So this is how the 3 forms of malnutrition are. So we have to end or eliminate all forms of malnutrition. Increase agricultural productivity. Goal is to double the agricultural productivity and incomes of small scale food producers, particularly women, indigenous people and family farmers. Ensure secure access to resources, knowledge, financial services and markets. Sustainable food production. Goal is to implement resilient agricultural practices to enhance productivity, maintain ecosystems and adapt to climate change. So that is also important, because due to climate change and all, the food productivity is getting reduced. We have to manage that. Preserve genetic diversity. Maintain genetic diversity of seeds, plants, animals and related wild species. Promote sound management of fair sharing of benefits from genetic resources and traditional knowledge. Increase investments. boost investment in rural infrastructure, agricultural research, technology development and gene banks, especially in developing and least developed countries. Next is trade and market regulations. Goal is to correct trade restrictions and distortions in global agricultural markets. The agricultural surplus producers should not dump their agricultural produce in the small and developing and underdeveloped countries. They don't want to, the smaller countries should not be made forcefully dependent on other countries. So trade practices should be fair when it comes to, agriculture, trade and all. Overview of hunger, if I see, despite the progress made in previous decades, recent years have seen a troubling increase in global hunger and food insecurity. It can be owed to multiple reasons. COVID can be a reason which has led to a lot of economic hardships. This war, Russia-Ukraine war, and now I would say, problems in West Asia currently can be a problem. Trend has been exacerbated by factors such as COVID-19 pandemic, ongoing conflicts, climate change, growing inequalities. By 2022, approximately 735 million people, or 9.2% of the world's population, experienced chronic hunger. This marks a significant rise from 2019, highlighting a severe and worsening crisis. Means the situation 2019 up till 2019 was better, and after that it has started to deteriorate with respect to hunger, availability of food, nutrition, etc., etc. The persistence of hunger and food insecurity highlights the need for urgent and coordinated global action. Obviously, a coordinated global action should be there, but we should first also understand what is the impact of hunger. What is going to be the disastrous consequences if this goal is not met. Extreme hunger and malnutrition are major barriers to sustainable development. Sustainable development, again, as a concept, we need to understand it is a very broad concept. It is not only environmental friendly development, it is people friendly development also. People friendly development, people should have adequate amount of food, nutrition, they should be healthy, mentally, physically, they should be able to freely express. That is what actually sustainable development is. Sustainable means long lasting. So, long lasting development will be like this only. If people are having access to food, nutrition and all, they will be more productive, they will be more, I would say, responsive, their cognitive abilities will be more good or better. So, it is like this. They create a cycle of poverty and poor health, impeding individuals' ability to be productive, earning a living and improve their circumstances. As of 2022, 2 billion people lacked regular access to safe, nutritious and sufficient food, and the total population did not touch 8 billion at that time. It was somewhere around 7.8, 7.9 billion, and out of this 2 billion were having these kind of crisis. Among the most affected are children, with 148 million experiencing stunted growth and 45 million suffering from wasting. Stunting is basically when your height is short as per your age, and wasting is when you are thin, too thin as per your height. Current hunger statistics, chronic hunger, by 2030 over 600 million people are projected to still face hunger. That is disturbing. Food insecurity, moderate food insecurity affects people who cannot regularly access a healthy, balanced diet due to income or resource constraints. Causes of hunger, there are multiple causes, so we have seen, but yes, in a structured way we will see. Conflicts, ongoing conflicts disrupt food production and distribution also. Climate change, extreme weather events and environmental degradation affect agricultural productivity. Climate change also leads to climate induced disasters like floods and all, which destroy the crops. That is a problem. Economic pressures, rising food prices and cost of living pressures exacerbate food scarcity. Civil insecurity, political instability can hinder food access and distribution. So, this can be done. Importance of addressing hunger. Addressing hunger is definitely very much essential for improving overall quality of life and achieving other SDGs such as health, education and gender equality, because a healthy human being whose stomach or tummy is full will be more productive in all sense. He'll be going to school or contributing in labor in a much better way. A world without hunger can positively influence economies, enhance health outcomes, promote educational opportunities and drive social development. Hunger limits human potential and hinders progress across various dimensions of the society. Strategies of achieving zero hunger. First is social protection. Social protection implement programs that ensure safe and nutritious food for vulnerable populations, particularly children. So India also runs these kind of programs in the form of National Food Security Act or Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Anna Yojana. Then we have midday meal schemes for the school children going to school. We'll see to that. Food systems transformation, create more inclusive and sustainable food systems. Inclusive and sustainable food systems, what are these? So very simple. Like I said that, you know, the world was suffering because of the lack of supply of wheat and rice, which most of it came from that region, Russia, Ukraine, due to war. Actually, the people have made up their mind and their staple food or their staple diet is wheat and rice. But that year, that is 2023, the next year, sorry, that is 2023, the International Year for Millets was observed by United Nations on the proposal of India. India saw this trend in 2022, proposed it to United Nations. Why we can't, you know, focus our or shift our focus towards millets instead of wheat and rice. That is also nutritious, in fact more nutritious than wheat and rice. And the best part is that millets, they grow in arid and semi-arid regions. They require less water due to climate change. You know, availability of water is reducing. So that was the logic behind India proposing International Year of Millets to be observed in 2023. India is the largest producer of millets in the world. That is also another reason. But yes, you know, the world needs to shift its focus from wheat and rice and find alternate, I would say, food grains or alternate modes or alternate sources of nutrition. So that is what food systems transformation means. There need to be some changes. Investment, increase investments in rural and urban areas, focusing on agriculture, social protection and infrastructure to improve food security and livelihoods. The challenge, despite the global availability of sufficient food, approximately 1 in 9 people worldwide experience hunger. Significant proportion of this vulnerable group resides in Asia, where 2/3 of the undernourished population is concentrated. Projections suggest that if current trends continue, the number of hungry people could be reaching 2 billion by 2050. Abhi to 2 billion people are such that who do not have adequate amount of food. But 2 billion hungry people means there will be more than 2 billion people who will be not having access to adequate amount of food. We don't want that condition at all. Although the global proportion of undernourished people in developing regions has decreased from 23.3% in 1990-92 to 12.9% from 2014 to 16, approximately 795 million individuals still suffer from undernourishment. This data is coming from the Global Multidimensional Poverty Index. Now the main thing is India and SDG 2. What is India doing with respect to SDGs? See, 795 million people are undernourished. We know that. But in India, 3 in 10 stunted children are Indian. All across the world, there are multiple stunted children. So, lagbhag 30% of the stunted children are from India. 53% women between 15 to 49 years of age are anemic. Over 80% infant and young children do not get minimum dietary diversity. Dietary diversity means proteins, carbohydrates, fats, then micronutrients like zinc and etc. etc. Carbohydrates, proteins and fats are macronutrients, and those are also not available in adequate numbers, which leads to malnourishment. In global food prices double, India could lose up to $49 billion in GDP. So that is going to be the loss. Over 50% of the workforce is employed in the agricultural sector. Around 54 point something percent of the workforce is in agriculture. Still these kind of conditions are there. That is disturbing. But anyways, current situation is that South Asia, including India, carries the greatest burden of hunger, with over 281 million undernourished people and 40% of India's population affected by it. South Asia, if I talk about South Asia, it comprises of 8 countries: Afghanistan, Pakistan, India, Nepal, Bhutan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka and Maldives. So it is like this, a huge population is there, and India has made significant strides towards achieving this SDG 2. But let us see what are the efforts. First is National Food Security Act, under which the government is now giving 5 kgs of free wheat, rice and coarse grains per person if that person belongs to a priority household, and 35 kgs of food grains per household if that household belongs to the Antyodaya Anna Yojana households. That is free of cost, and this is going to continue till 2027-28. This was announced by the Indian Prime Minister last year. And obviously the aim is to reduce hunger and undernourishment in the country. The aim is to achieve SDG 2. The aim is to justify the efforts of that more than 50% of the workforce engaged in agricultural sector. The aim is definitely to become a healthy country, and then only we will be becoming a wealthy country. Next is PM Kisan Samman Nidhi provides financial support to small and marginal farmers. 6,000 rupees is given to the small and marginal farmers for what? For buying, purchasing agricultural inputs like fertilizers, pesticides and all, so that they can apply those fertilizers, pesticides and all in their fields, and they can increase their productivity, thereby increasing their income. Increased productivity will definitely lead to food security. Then National Agriculture Market, ENAM we call it. The farmers of any district, any state can sell their produce anywhere in the country. Earlier it was not allowed, but with the introduction of ENAM, it is allowed. They can sell their products wherever they are getting better, I would say, prices for their products. So this will not only lead to increasing the incomes of the farmers, but it will also plug the regional imbalances with respect to food availability or food supply. So these are the three things which we have done. Nutritional programs aimed at increasing or enhancing nutrition. First is the National Nutrition Mission, aims to improve nutritional outcomes. It is also known as PM Poshan, especially for women, children and adolescents. Midday meal schemes. Midday meal schemes are given to those children who are 6 years to 14 years of age. In schools, they are, they have to be served on the school premises, and students do eat it over there only. And it is also, a mandate under National Food Security Act. Extra allocation or specific allocations are done for this under that. Then next is Integrated Child Development Services. Offers comprehensive childcare and nutrition services to children under 6 years of age. When they are born, they are growing up like this during this period. Sustainable agriculture. What India is doing with respect to sustainable agriculture? So we have launched National Mission on Sustainable Agriculture. It focuses on promoting sustainable agricultural practices like organic farming, climate smart agriculture and all. Then we have this Paramparagat Krishi Vikas Yojana, encourages organic farming certification. National Food Security Mission aims to increase production and reduce wastage of food grains. Then we are focusing upon wheat and rice over here. Infrastructure and support measures include improving irrigation, crop insurance and developing better crop varieties. And I would like to add over here the very recently, I would say, announced the Digital Agriculture Mission, which we covered last week. It is also aiming at increasing productivity. That is also part of infrastructure. This is a digital infrastructure with respect to agriculture. Food processing industries. Food processing is basically any activity done on the food crops, so that it leads to the increased shelf life of those food products, aimed at reducing wastage, increasing shelf life, making food fit for consumption like this. Food processing industries encourages value addition to agricultural products, reducing post-harvest losses and creating employment opportunities on the same side. Central and state food processing enterprises provide financial assistance and infrastructure to food processing industries in the country. So all these things we are doing to tackle this goal or to tackle hunger and undernutrition in our country. Are we in a good position? No. Can we be in a good position? Definitely yes. The intent should be clear, the works should be done timely, and innovation should be brought in time and again in this. Now the MCQs based on these topics. Which of these countries has signed Council of Europe's International AI Treaty? First is Israel, second is Georgia, third is Norway. Out of these, you have to find out which is the correct combination. Second question, consider the following statements with respect to the International AI Treaty signed by multiple countries tabled in the Council of Europe and mark the correct one. The treaty aims at establishing a legal framework to govern the entire life cycle of AI systems. Second is, treaty will also deal with the rising concerns due to AI. only one, only two, both one and two, neither one nor two. Consider the following statements with respect to Council of Europe and mark the correct one. All the 27 members of EU are not part of it. It was established in 1949 with the aim of upholding human rights among others. Only one, only two, both one and two, neither one nor two. Fourth is, which of the following initiatives can be considered to enhance food security in India? PM Kisan, National Food Security Act and National Nutrition Mission. So, find the correct combination among these. Now coming to yesterday's MCQs, consider the following statements and mark the correct one. In India, center collects most of the taxes and states handle most of the expenditure. This is very true. That is why this vertical fiscal imbalance is there in India. In India, the vertical fiscal imbalances has been reducing and under control. No, it has been on the rise since 2020-21. So this statement holds wrong. Only one is going to be the correct answer. So this statement you could make out from the I would say graph which we saw that in yesterday's class. Second is, consider the following statements and mark how many of them are correct. India currently has 12 major ports. This statement is correct. Galathea Bay is going to be the 13th major port. Major ports can be under the jurisdiction of center or state governments. No, major port, once it is categorized as a major port, it will be under the center only. So this statement holds wrong. The minor ports are under the state governments, major ports are under central government. Galathea Bay, expected to be India's 13th major port, is located near the Indira Point. Yes, it is located near the Indira Point. It is on the Great Nicobar Island. You could see it from the image we posted over there of the map. So this and these two statements are correct. This one is wrong. So B is going to be the correct answer for this. Which of these ports in India has the highest berth productivity currently? So we saw this, and this is basically very straightforward question. This is Paradip port in Odisha because it is handling a lot of mineral exports from India. Which state in India have the highest number of major ports? The statement is, the question was basically about major ports, and Maharashtra has two major ports in the form of JNPT and Mumbai. Odisha has one major port, that is Paradip. Gujarat has basically one major port which was Kanda earlier and now Deen Dayal port. Tamil Nadu has three major ports. Chennai, Ennore and one more was there. So Tamil Nadu is going to be the correct answer for this particular question. Fifth is, which of these can help in eradicating poverty? Building resilience against disasters. Obviously these disasters pull the people back into poverty. Ensuring food security, definitely yes. Ensuring social security, definitely yes. Giving them insurance, pension and all will not let them go down into poverty once they are pulled out of it. Skills, obviously yes. This was quite commonsensical question. So all four will help, and D hence is going to be the correct answer for this question. Now with this we have come to an end of today's session. I will be seeing you tomorrow now with more such informative news pieces. Till then, you guys very well know what to do. Keep studying, keep reading, keep writing, and most importantly, keep revising. Keep watching the videos, keep following the themes. I know in the theme section, since it is the beginning, so I'm getting it to stabilize. The number of current affairs topics I will be increasing to 2 or 3 depending on the theme, but theme will be continuing. Okay, so namaste, Jai Hind.